Welcome to another expert interview. I start them all the exact same way. I'm always excited to talk to who comes on. We get to have the most fascinating conversations. Before we hit record, we were already talking about amazing technology and really cool projects and just really like monumental shifts in society. And so really big, cool stuff. I know, Steve, we're probably going to go a lot of directions today based on all the stuff you're working on and your expertise. I was let my guests introduce themselves. So Steve, tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll jump in.
Steve Ramona, I'm here in Northern California. A couple things. I'm a podcast TV host. I've done almost 800 podcasts, one of the fastest growing podcasts in the world because I love doing them. Nobody's going to do five. Well, most people are not going to do five a day. I love doing them because it talks about what Devin's so an expert at, connections. It builds connections deeper, stronger, and more valuable. I'm also a partner in Ramex Development and Animos Global, which is we bring in partnerships with renewable energy to landowners. We have two wonderful cities in Nevada and California that we're building to bring in renewable energy, but to bring jobs and a social impact.
That's awesome. And let's talk podcasting. Podcasting is a hot topic, and you have so much experience being a host and being a guest. What are you seeing? Let's go to the negative. So when you're bringing people onto your show, where do you see people go sideways? Where do they mess up?
Well, the hosts mess up by not proper having a conversation before the show. I know, and I have to watch what I say because I'm very passionate about podcasting. I know people do those pre-show, let's meet for 15 minutes, and that's okay, but people are busy. I do my pre-show right before the show, but I come in with energy. Devin, man, thank you for being on. Welcome to Doing Business Service Heart. Let me ask you a couple of questions. What's your superpower? What's 3 words to describe you? And the energy's like goes up because they start thinking. You don't start with that kind of energy. They're going to come in like, oh, I just love podcasting. It's cool. Yes, no. So as the host, we have to direct them. You want to shut up, but you want to direct them with powerful words, edifying, motivating, and inspiring. And for anybody listening out there to be a great guest, the 3 things you need to do is motivate, educate, and inspire. If you hit those 3 on your podcast as a guest, great things are going to happen.
Let's talk about the follow-up, because I think this is where you've probably seen it and experienced it in sales and marketing and podcasting. Everybody fails in this subject. So what's your best advice? Let's start with being a host. As a host, how should you be following up to nurture these relationships and actually turn the interview into much, much more?
Wonderful question, Devin. Man, this guy's smart, isn't he? Whoever's listening, if you're listening to this recording, that's a great question. I do it right after the podcast is done. So I'm about a 20, 25-minute podcast. Here, I want you to think and have an image with this. So I've started with that pre-show with energy, fired up, getting to know them, and them liking me liking them. And then you do a podcast. Well, what happens? I'm going to promote them after. They know that. I'm going to learn all about them, desires, challenges, pain points, whatever it may be. And then when you get done, you go, Devin, Gary, what a great podcast. You said, be very specific. You said this, this, and this. I can help you. Let me introduce you to somebody. And I've got a resource I think that will help you. The natural thing as a human, what happens is when you give gifts like that is, Steve, how can I help you? I'm looking for $100 million. Can you help me? Yeah, I've got a guy that's a private equity guy. Let me introduce you to him. And then you follow up with the guest as well after you've recorded and uploaded it. Great opportunity to follow up again. Hey, I'm looking for a sponsor. Hey, I'm doing this. So you send them your podcast, but then include some ask with that. Do not be afraid to ask, because the worst thing you're going to get is no. I've never had anybody, Devin, tell me, what an a-hole, you ask for something. Except if I ask for it, right? I know you do, Devin, as well. But ask.
I love it. I'm sitting here laughing on mute, but it's so true though, right? And in sales, it's a lot, in marketing, it's a lot of the same conversation. Like if you're only giving, if you're only pushing, at some point you've got to test, right? Did I provide enough value? Will this person respond? And so I love that. And then obviously our mantra is make 3 connections for everybody, because that opens the door and moves the relationship the right direction. I know that's big into what you're doing. You use the human SEO as kind of what you lead with. Talk about that. Like, what's the methodology there? How do you approach that?
Well, from branding, I talked to a branding expert. She actually developed Baconator on Wendy's. And I think West Foot, that's not where I'm going with this open here. But I mean, it's a $50 million project for her. She said, Steve, always be branding and being unique. You're called a super connector, Devin. I've been called that. It's a great word because we love doing it. But I was thinking one day, I'm like, well, what do we do with SEO? Well, our website's going to have certain words for people to see us. Well, you know what I do is I take humans and I put them together in partnerships or connections or introductions. So you need to come find some people in SEO and search engine optimize humans. You come talk to me and I'll get you some people that can help you.
I love that. With the network of your size, with as many guests you had, how the heck do you stay organized? What are some tips there to actually organize your network?
Well, one of my guests, this is why I like podcasting, because the podcasts give to you as much as being a guest on your podcast. Ernesto, we build a Notion app that's free, and I can share it with anybody who's interested, that has everything there. Follow-up, dates, information, all that. Or you can use Monday CRM, but you got to use some type of software. You know, doing almost 800 shows, and I did 1,800 referrals in 2024. You got to keep track to follow up. You can't just wing it. I used to do that, Devin. I failed miserably. I don't do that anymore because I want to help more people. If you're out there want to help and serve other people, you've got to track it.
I love that. I mean, quick action for anyone listening or watching. If you're not using a CRM, customer relationship management system of any sort, you have to. Like if you're going to play this connection referral game, if you're going to guest or host, you've got to track it. Yeah, we already talked about follow-up. I don't know how you're going to do the follow-up properly, again, if you're not tracking it. So, Steve, I'm glad to hear that, man. Talk to me about the guest side of things. What are some good action items for a guest who's on a podcast? How should they be following up? And I think they actually really never do. So what should guests be doing too?
Start the follow-up right after the show. That's what I do, if it resonates. But here's the thing. I told you about being a host, how I do it. My guesting is the same way. I meet Devin. We started with a conversation. We have this connection we're going to try to put together. So our energy is way up here. Bring the energy. Bring it like you're in a college football game and you're cheering for your favorite team, like this weekend that just happened. What kind of energy is going through those players? You do it as a guest. But then when you come in as a guest during the show, edify the host. I've already done that with Devin. He's a great connector. Bring the value and the love and the service to your host, because they'll never forget you. And then when you get done, you come back and go, man, you're a great host, Devin. Fantastic. You know, you were so great in listening to what I said and asked great questions. And then that system of, by the way, how can I help you, Steve? Thank you for the great words. And then it's like, well, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for this. You can do the ask. I will ask anyways. And here's a great tip if you're guesting, ask anyways. Hey, I'm a business coach. I'm looking for CPAs. If you know any, I love it. Always ask through people. Devin, who do you know? And you do this so well, Devin. I love when we're on your group thing. Ask through them. Don't go, Devin, you should be my client. Oh my God, I can take your business. One, if you get them as a client, they don't last very long. And two, most people are going to forget you really quickly. So, and then on a quick note, what I do when people pitch me, I just pitch them back. Hey, thank you for connecting so-and-so on LinkedIn. By the way, I've started my new podcast or my podcast. Here is my link to my podcast and to my newsletter. I'd love for you to join. I think it's 50 subscribers I've received over the last month doing that.
I love that. Let's stay there for a second because I think we're gonna geek out for a minute because I love and when people cold message me, right? I love it. I love the art of it. I love reading the messages. I like seeing what their theories and thoughts are. And just like you probably get pitched and added on LinkedIn all the time. But I love what you said. Hey, that's great. And I'll typically reply similar. Like, thank you so much for sharing what you do. That might be valuable for people I know. So great to learn about it. By the way, I host this community. You might get some value out of the community. It's amazing how often the person that reached out to me ends up in the community, ends up on a call, ends up doing business with other people But again, it wasn't me. And I think that's exactly what you said is like, look, sometimes you get to pitching too quick, but you never know what can happen. So I love to hear your language there.
Well, and Devin, you know what you did? You served a negative situation. That's why I love doing that. Instead of going, hey, quit pitching me, you idiot, you a-hole. That doesn't go anywhere anyways. It just pisses off two people. And here's another way to pitch people. I don't want to use that word. Here's another way to serve other people. When you have a product and you're on that sales call and you're going, hey, my coaching's $10,000, and they want to do it. And they're like, oh, Steve, I just don't have the money right now. I've got this. No problem. Well, that's a tough conversation for that person to say no and me to receive it. Here's how you answer it. Tony, no problem. I completely understand. I'll follow up with you. But, during our conversation, I have a couple people I want to introduce you to. I have a resource I want to give you to help your business. I've done that. I've seen people done that, and months later, they come back as a client. And if they never do, I'm going to talk about this a lot. I'm a faith guy, so God or the universe, if you know that direction, will reward you for that all the time. We just don't know the how, when, or where. And we got to take that. This is not a scoreboard. I talk sports. We don't scoreboard. I saw you, Devin, at your group. I went, hey, Devin gave me 8 referrals. I sent him 5, or he needs to send me 6. That mindset's got to stop right now.
I love that, man. It's so fun. It's like just like looking in the mirror. Different language, same approach. It's firing me up, and I love to hear it because even when you were on, I know you were on one of our Blitz meetings, and just hearing the language you use, I was like, okay, Steve's playing the game right properly, right, which is great because everyone's winning. And then, like you said, I love that. I was on a sales meeting yesterday. Same thing. I could see him just sticker shock. I said, you know what? No worries. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. In the meantime, here's all the things I can do to help you. Here's the connections I can make, the doors I can open, the stuff. And then guess what? I followed through, delivered, made the connections, did the things. At some point, he'll buy, or to your point, the universe will deliver, right?
Mic drop. I'm old school, 64. That's a mic drop right there, brother.
That's it. Just take our 2. If you guys get anything, just run with that. I want to ask you a question about guesting. What shows should people go on?
Wow, I get asked this a lot, what I look for. And I look for a human body, a breathing person. And people come to me and go, well, that guy has 10 followers, or that guy has 100 followers. Well, my podcast I'm going to shamelessly pitch, but it's free, doing business with a servant's heart. For me to have a servant's heart, I can't say no to Joe who's got 100 followers, because 2 reasons. One, the universe, again, I'm taking care of Joe, and I love doing them. I know you do too, Devin, because you've talked about it. But the second thing is the universe. I'm serving him by being a great guest, like I will be today, being a great guest, because if I impact one person of those 100 and they make a change in their life, did I do my job?
I love that. I mean, it was a setup. I think you read between what I was asking. But I hear it all the time where people are like, oh, I only want to be on a show if it reaches the specific audience or has certain metrics or certain stuff. And I'm like, I'll be on a show with anybody, because the guy who's starting or gal who's starting, I love it. Like, they need at-bats. And guess what? There's a human. And I think we missed that part, that the podcast host is a person, right? And why are we not building a relationship there? So I love your perspective on that. If there's a body, I'll do it.
And they're breathing.
Let's
make sure they're breathing.
And they're breathing. Yeah. Are they actually asking questions? Let's make a pivot. Let's talk about this development world you're in. Give us a little backstory. Like, how the heck did you end up in that world and those size projects?
This is one of my favorite stories about podcasting. So October of 2022, Josh Tapp, who was one of the top podcasters, started a coaching program. And one of my clients in the business I was a part owner in said, hey, come check it out. And I've always thought about doing podcasting. And when I remember October 4th, 2022, it's one of those dates you never forget. You all have those dates. Marriage too. I remember my marriage. But business date. And I said, Josh, what do I do? He goes, start recording. Don't worry what you're like, how you do it, your skill set, any of that, just record. And I started doing that. But what I started seeing was I was bringing value to my clients because that was my goal. I want to interview my clients because they got cool businesses, cool nonprofits. But it started leading to Lee Steinberg, the Jerry Maguire movie. I reached out and asked, would you be on my show? I only had 100 shows in. I would love to be on your show. I'm like, holy mackerel. I could build a network, but now I could build a network that was here, my nose level to forehead level, where I uplift my connections, where I'm meeting billionaires, multimillionaires. And one of the guys says, hey, I've got a city I want to, or he said, I got some money. I said, well, I've got a city I can build. My business partner, Max, is, and we started talking to all these people through my podcast, which built my network, which built my connections to go, yes. And I was telling you before the show, I met a connection through my podcast guest yesterday, and we're going to do some business together in $300 million projects. Now I'm 64, Devin. To say 300 million out of my mouth was never going to happen. But treating people right, building the connections, referring connections out, and just telling God and the universe, you're doing good things, opportunity doors fly wide open.
I love it. So let's go a level deep. Let's talk about some of these projects you're working on. Let's get in the weeds on them, and let's explain how you brought people together and what that looks like. Because I want people to really understand this is real. Like, this is real, tangible stuff that's turning into real physical stuff, which is super interesting too. All because of a podcast. Side note, that's amazing, and all because of relationships. So let's go a level deeper. Talk to us through one or two of the projects, and how did you bring the people together, and what awesome stuff are we doing in the world?
So McDermott, Nevada, which is on the border of Oregon and Nevada, there is a casino there. And my business partner had a friend that was going to buy the casino, but she wants to do a casino resort, hotels and RV parks, entertainment center with concerts and things like that. Well, by matter of fact, it's next to two of the largest lithium mines in the world. And they're going to start production here beginning of 2026, end of 2026. So we get down, go, who can we bring together? Well, I found through my network an engineer. I found four funding sources of people that were going to fund our project without knowing anybody. What I did was I reached out and said, network, I'm looking for $100 million. You know, anybody can help me. I had 10 emails within 24 hours. So now I'm building partnerships as we grow. And I mentioned to you the waste to energy plant is interested in coming in and taking the waste and turning that in. That's another partner. Partnerships are gold. If you think of people as partnerships or collaborators, you will make so much money, it'll drive you crazy in a great way. If you try to pitch people, you're going to make money early and be broke later. So I'm excited about McDermott because we have the casino now. We're going to take over here in a couple of weeks. We're going to build a whole city. We need to bring schools, clinics, housing, fire, police departments. If you think of a city, that's what we get to build, me and my partner, Max, and shout out to Max, great guy. And then I had a podcast guest, Chase, with Rami came on my podcast to talk about this affordable housing they're doing. And Rami wrote a book about being broke and homeless at 17. And in 10 years, he became a billionaire. Well, meeting Chase and found out he lived local to me, and I watched him play football, building that relationship. He now has California City that we're working on to grow and turn that city into another city with renewable energy. It's going to be massive. Try to bring in the Amazons or different kinds of anchor businesses like that to come in and build a city. So now we have a city outside of Los Angeles. It's north of Los Angeles where people can now drive an hour to get into Los Angeles, but not pay the Los Angeles prices. So now we're bringing the social impact of affordable pricing and bringing jobs, because we're bringing multiple jobs to that California city. So all my partnerships, we try to focus on social impact, of course, money. We all need money, but the right partnerships, and that's the key. Make sure they're right.
Yeah, let's go there. That's going to be my next question is, anyone who's had partners probably has had bad ones at some point. So what is your kind of benchmark or thought process on, doing a joint venture first before going in deeper? How do you vet your partners? Give us a brain dump on that side of things.
Well, the first thing, I meet with them and be very candid with them and build trust, build relationships. Don't meet a potential partner and going, they're no good or they're going to be my partner. This again is a relationship that's hopefully going to be long term. So you have to have multiple meetings, multiple times meeting. If you could do belly to belly, it even's better. We went to Utah and met some more partners. Boy, our relationships just grew. Doesn't have to be that way, but and bringing value to them. Don't just pitch your partner. How can we collaborate that we all win? My partner, Max, says the offer you can't refuse from The Godfather. That is part of this because you're offering something where you win, they win, and the project wins. And then you build your numbers around that. But that win-win-win has to be part of your mindset. If it's not part of their mindset, partnership doesn't work. And we don't. And we had many. I've jumped on a call with a potential funding partner. He said, we're the stupidest guys in the world for doing what we're doing. I'll never make it. Like, just crazy. Of course, we cut the call off really quick, which you should do. But when you do that too, and you take a partner and they're not a fit, you're serving them by saying no. People go, well, wait a minute, potential money, it wouldn't have worked out. And you just said it. A lot of partnerships fail because we don't delve into who wins. Everybody has to win, whether you have two partners, one partner, or 100 partners. It's got to look at the win-win.
I want to reflect something you just said, serving them by saying no. Let's go deeper there because I want people to really hear that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was guilty of this. I've done $125 million in partnerships over the last 10 or 12 years, which was great. But I made $10,000, $20,000 off those partnerships. And I'm not saying I'm trying to do it for money, but let's use a 10% rule. $1.2 million that I didn't get. I didn't fail because I'm learned from that. What do you say? I have a phrase, and there's a phrase you want to think about. 1% of a billion. Me and Devin and Gary are going to be very, very happy. So when you say no, you've got a client and you're begging for money, you're struggling, but you got this pain in the butt client and you bring them on just for the money, it's going to cause you more troubles than not having money. So saying no to people and then saying no to clients or people that aren't uplifting you. I do a lot of free mentoring. I have loved doing it. I know you do too, Devin. It's a beautiful thing to do. It's so fun. But after I was working with a guy for a year, he changed nothing. He took no action. And I had to tell him, I got to move on. He's like, well, wait a minute. I said, you don't take action. I'm not going to take an hour a month out of my life where I can. Here's the other thing. I could help out so many other people, Devin, by not meeting him. So now I'm taken away from those people when I say yes to somebody I shouldn't say no to. So, and then he never came back around, but it was, and my life took off when I said no to him. The universe loves that. Don't take on people that need you just because they want money. Money should not be the forefront of your mind.
Love that. Talk to me about that didn't fail statement you said. I didn't fail, I learned. That's, again, another nugget I think we probably should double down on. I think a lot of people get these narratives because of those moments and either get stuck or kind of get stuck on a cycle. So how do you overcome failure? How do you shift your mindset around it?
Love this question. My guests, some of my very successful guests, and I can't think of the name of the gentleman right now, and I'll think of it. But he said, when you fail at something, be human for 5 minutes. Oh man, I lost a $10 million contract. And that's happened last year. We lost a $10 million. Oh man, I suck. I'm this, I'm that. And then 5 minutes go by and you go, okay, what's next? What you got to move. Momentum's got to be moving forward. We talk about in our business all the time. What kind of momentum can we have today? It could be a 1%, 2%, but what's moving the needle forward? Not backward. The backward could be a quick step back and then you sidestepping right back forward again. Failure is just lessons learned.
I love that. Be human for 5 minutes. Like I want people to feel that because that's such a different approach to like, oh, just ignore it. And yes, you talked about fail forward and learn the lesson, all the other stuff, but the reality is, hey, it did suck for a couple minutes, right? But then to your point, let's get some momentum. I love that. That's a great memory hook, something you can kind of have your little either devil or angel on your shoulder whispering to you and say, hey, come on,
Yeah,
come on.
I love that.
I love that. How do we play the long game? A lot of the stuff you've talked about doesn't usually happen at the speed of flight, right? Building relationships typically takes a little bit of time. How do you hold yourself accountable to that long game and not slip into that urgency? Because the reality is most people listening and watching, they do need to generate revenue. They need to get some cash flow. The deals need to flow. So how do you play the long game?
Great answers to this. Two things. One, everybody listening out there, I want you to think about this. You're in the people asset business. What does that mean? Well, in finance as an asset or in funding, I have a casino. Well, that's my asset, which I get money on, but I've got to build that asset. When you're in a business, I don't care if you're a business coach working with one person or you're a plumber and you got 400 clients. You're in the people asset business. How do you bring that asset to go up? You bring value, you serve them, you work with them, the win-win every time you meet them. You don't, today I'm not got energy. I'm not going to help Devin. I'm not really feeling Devin's show today. I'm going to be no energy. I'm going to be like this. No, come strong, because there's a lot of different things you can do to build that. Here's the powerful thing. If people are not in your business, growing your business, again, we talked about it earlier, remove them. I've talked to a lot of business people that, hey, I talked to a lady yesterday who was on my show. She had to get rid of a client, a worker, employee. She loves him, but he was not getting the job done. He wasn't, doing certain things. And she's in a multi-million-dollar business. She still loved it because empathy and love should be part of the business. So you're in the people asset business. Now, here's something, it's a drop dead principle I came up with, because listening and asking questions are what we talk about all the time. So think of this. It's called the ASLA Principle. ASLA. Ask, shut up, listen, and ask. Now, the bridge between the shut up and listen, people go to me, well, Steve, when I shut up, I'm listening. No, you're not active listening all the time. And here's your image. How many Zoom rooms, and I know you've been millions like me, we've all been in Zoom rooms where person's screen's black. That's okay. I'm not judging that, because they might go into the bathroom, answering the door, or emergency. Something's happened. But is that person listening to what somebody's saying, the person's saying on the Zoom? Absolutely not. So only use that image. I'm not saying never leave a Zoom if you got to go to the bathroom when things happen, but think of that image. So when you shut up and listen and go, Devin just asked me a question about people. Then I wouldn't do it here, but because you're asking questions. But in my podcast, I'll go, hey, Devin, you said this. That's interesting about people. Why do you love people so much? And as you ask with people on one-on-one calls, in group meetings, on podcasts, what are you learning? All about them. What are you doing? Building a relationship. What can you do after all that? Bring value, serve them, and help them and support them.
Yeah, there's so many little nuggets in there. I wanted to talk about one more part of partnerships. This question just came through. So, in partnerships, how do you balance the payouts? Because sometimes the effort to return ratio might feel a little imbalanced. Do you have a formula or a way you think through that? I mean, you mentioned win-win-win, but sometimes that winning might feel a little imbalanced.
I'm going to go back to the 1% of a billion. Is I don't know what it is. Was it 100 million, 10 million? Because you're going to negotiate this. We do it all. We're doing it all the time. We did it yesterday with the group that we were talking to. But be that servant heart. Don't be greedy. And, somebody comes in and you go, I got to get 50%, and it's $100,000. And they go, we can give you 25%. So that's 50K. Well, 0 plus 0 in my book, I'm not a math expert, is still 0. So if I say no to that, or you say no to that, okay, you lost 25,000 not in your bank account. Now, Definitely, you're right. We all have to pay bills, but that's where the people asset comes in, because now you have 12 partnerships, not one. That one partnership, you've got, oh, Devin, God, he's got to pay me 50K. It's going to pay off all this and this and this. And you rely on that one partnership or one person paying you, and it doesn't go through. Yeah, that 5 minute being human is going to have to happen, because now, oh my God, I got bills to pay. There's always a way out. And Sandy Cusano, the joyful optimist, had this great thing with decisions. It's a freeway. You're driving down the road, down on a freeway, and you hit a stop sign, or a street, you hit a stop sign. I guess in a small town, it could be a freeway and there's a stop sign. So we'll just use that. So you got three ways you can go. You go right, you go left, you go straight. Right's the wrong decision. Straight is just indecision, just doing what you've been doing, not going any, you're going somewhere, but you're not growing. Or left is the right decision. When you go right or left, you're going a different journey. You can pivot from the right by doing a U-turn and go the right way. But when you go straight, now you're too far down the road, you got to come back. So you go left or right, because you can always pivot from the wrong decision. If it's only 25,000 and that's the deal, then you move on. Find another partnership that works great, or work with that, and maybe the next deal is 100,000. So working with the negotiation, but having that mindset of serving.
Love it. Talk to me about, oh man, there's just so much I want to talk about partnerships. Let's go podcasting for a second, because this will be fun. You've interviewed a tremendous amount of people. And so I want to ask you, like, what are some highlights? What are some nuggets and wisdom you've gleaned from some of your interviews that you're like, man, the world needs to hear these things?
Got a ton, but I'll give you a few. Mark Hunter, he's called the sales hunter, top sales guy in the world. He says ego. I'm like, oh, Mark, ego. He goes, no. Here's what ego means: empowering greater outcomes. Oh, whoa. It hit me. I mean, I literally sat back in my chair. That's powerful. That's what we want to do. You want to have that ego, and that's really what ego is. I had a gentleman on my show, Alfonso James, who was convicted of murder at 17 years old. Well, he didn't do the murder. He was illiterate because he quit school early, in the police station, just signed a piece of paper, didn't know what it was. Well, he said he committed murder, or committed murder, excuse me. Alfonso spent 32 years in prison, 5 years in solitary for something he never did. Now, we talked about failure earlier. That's a failure in your life to me. And I asked him this question on the show. I said, Alfonso, how can you be so grateful? I don't know if I could do that. You're a bigger man than most people. And you know what he said? Tell people this all the time when I mentor him. He goes, Steve, I drive to the lake in Wisconsin. I sit on a bench. I see the birds fly by. I see the sunrise and the water ripple. I missed that for 32 years. It's the little and simple things in life that we forget. I'm getting goosebumps right now. And that's the power of podcast. We forget that. Me, you, Dara, we're all human. We do that. We get caught up in our lives. But when I say that story, people kind of like you did, you go, okay. Sometimes when you lose that contract, it's okay, because I have my health. I've got my family. I've got this, and the simpler things that we forget.
I love the lessons in perspective. I really, I think contentment is such an interesting thing. And as a young entrepreneur, I know I struggled with it. I struggled with, like, where do you find contentment in this hustle culture era, right? Which I think we're seeing fizzle a little bit. But I love that narrative you just said. And if there's a takeaway today, go do that. Like, just find a few minutes just to reflect on the current moment and be grateful for what's around you. Because as you were telling that story, you said, I got goosebumps. I'm sitting here going, man, I feel that. Like, I feel your story. Like, I love
it's powerful. Yeah. And a quick story. I remember as a young entrepreneur, I'm 64 now, probably in my late 20s. And I was driving down the street and I stopped at a stoplight, and I looked over, and my girlfriend was breaking on me. I'm like, all these bad things are happening. Oh my God, girlfriend's breaking up with me. My dad was he recovered, but he was sick. And I looked over and I saw a guy in a wheelchair. And in my head, I went, dude, I literally slapped myself. I will never forget. I was alone. I think a guy next to me, I was crazy. I'm like, yeah, dad's sick, but they're telling me he's going to recover. Be there for him. Girlfriend leaves you. It's not the end of the world. This guy will never walk again. He's taking buses. He doesn't even have a car to get him somewhere. And he was smiling. And I'll never forget that. As you can tell, that was 40 years ago. I'll never forget that in my head. So I love what you said, Devin.
We've covered a lot of ground. What haven't we talked about? What's on your heart or your mind that you just want to share with people, or something we missed?
Serve people every day, uplift them. And here's a way to do it that I love to teach people. Say everybody's names. Walk into the grocery clerk and say, Tony, thank you for having my groceries. Have a great day, Tony. Say their name twice. If they don't have a name tag, ask them, by the way, what's your name? Oh, it's Tony. Hey, Tony, no problem. You're changing lives doing that. And let's go back to God and the universe. They are going to shine a light on you because you're serving. Here's a thing that really takes serving to another level. If you want to practice this, I want to write a book, Devin, how to be a great customer. Not customer service, but us customers, we suck sometimes. Sorry, but we do. I've seen it. You've been in an airport. You've been in a restaurant. My food's cold. Where's the man? And screaming and yelling. Never gets anywhere. So go into a restaurant when you go out to eat, and you have a great meal. That's the requirement. Don't just make this up. Be authentic. And I do this, and I'll grab the waiter and go, hey, Jim, can you go get your manager? Oh, everything okay? I don't tell him why. And I'm going to explain this. People are like, why would you tell him? I don't tell him why, because I want to make a bigger impact with value. So you see him, the two people, like, they're going back and forth. What'd you do wrong? What did you kind of can hear him, or you can see that the body language is like, oh, you sucked. So the manager walks over, and I again ask their name. Hey, Tony. I'll use Tony again. I guess I'm Italian. I use Tony all the time. Anthony. And I go, Tony, I got to tell you, Jim was such a great waiter. He talked to my wife about her kids, and he was so pleasant, and our food was on time. He filled my water, whatever you saw. And you know what you're doing? You're serving two people, actually three people: the restaurant, the manager, and the waiter. That's a serving trilogy. But here's the thing, why I ask you to do this. I've talked to over 100 managers for this book. I haven't written it yet, but every time I get on these shows, I talk about it. I go, I got to write this book because it's powerful. I said, Tony, how many times do you hear this? Now, this is a busy restaurant, Devin. He goes, I've been here 10 years. I've heard it 5 times. Oh, whoa, 25 times in 10 years, people have told you your employees are good? Absolutely. I've had 80% of them say that they've heard it very few times. 20% they hear it all the time. That's the wrong percentage, because that's the world. And I hate to bring the world into it, but that's how we are. Give me my food, give me my stuff, let me get out. We forget about serving other people, uplifting people, because people are afraid because of COVID and fear. I do that. How's that going to help me? It will help you, because I have a multi-million-dollar business because it's working. Devin's, I want to say his numbers, but he's very successful because he's doing it. Go out and serve people daily.
Love it. Steve, how can people connect with you? How do we find your show? What's the best way to reach out? Let people know how to reach you.
Yeah, email me, stevr1961@gmail.com. I just use that 40-year-old email. It's easy peasy. Again, stevr1961@gmail.com. LinkedIn, Steve Ramona, Ramona. You connect me there. I'm always there. Probably next to Devin, we're doing something or seeing something happening. And the podcast is Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. And my TV show is Together We Serve. You just search those. You'll find them all, the podcast channels, my YouTube, and so on and so forth.
Love it. Wherever you're listening or watching, look below. We'll link all of that. Steve, I got to ask one last question, and I took this note as you said it. Just to make your wife happy, what's your anniversary date, just so that she can confirm you actually know it?
July 23rd. And here's
okay,
here's a funny thing. I'm going to tell you a funny story. It's amazing you're asking me this. Man, that's why I love doing these shows. We connect so well. We got married on the 23rd, but we didn't do a marriage license because we've never been married before. Well, she was, but it's been a while. So we had to go into the court to get our license, and they had to change the date to September 7th on the marriage license. So we have 2 marriage dates. So it's kind of hard. I got to remember the right date when we actually got married.
That's awesome. Well, for your wife, in case she catches this episode, we made sure we confirmed Steve can sleep in bed, not in the doghouse or on the couch. So, Steve, man, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. Back at you.